Café Cannes Clap spécial interview avec aujourd'hui l'un de nos chouchous de la compétition officielle, le film brésilien Aquarius. Nous avons eu la chance de rencontrer le réalisateur Kleber Mendonça Filho.
In my mind, it came from a feeling of discomfort that I get, and that in fact my generation gets with the city in Recife. It's very messy in an urbanistic sense. There are too many demolitions, too many changes made to the city that in my mind are not human. They are more commercial than human. They are not really about community and enjoying a beautiful city and making it nice and hospitable and comfortable. And I had done some films where some of those themes were present, short films, and the Play de Recife has some suggestions of that also. But I thought that I wanted to experiment the theme and do not so much this ethereal, abstract observation of some of these problems, but maybe focus on the practical points of space and of having to deal with the market. When the market comes knocking on your door, what happens when they want your chair, basically, your house. And yeah, that's how Aquarius was developed. But also I thought a lot about making a film about archives. The archive is an interesting thing because it's where you keep documents. It's like a cinematheque, a library.
Discotheque.
A discotheque, yes. And I see my house, people's houses are their own personal archives. That's where they live their lives, and that's where they have so many memories, and that's where they keep their things. And so on a superficial level, it's very much about urbanism and city and space, but maybe on a deeper level, it's about archives, about this collection of ideas, which can be physical, like in books,
or memories,
or memories, like experience of life. Well, because she's a very experienced person. She's 60-something. She has life experience and she has a history. And I do believe that we are inextricably linked to memories because we're human beings. So for me, it was quite easy to associate her with that story because we are emotional beings, all right? Even if there is a certain area of society today, especially with the whole technology thing, that believes that things are minimalistic. I mean, I know people who live in hotels. They live in hotels and they don't have a lot of things with them. They have all of their music in the computer. They have books in iPads or Kindles and things like that. Instead of preparing, good real coffee, they use the Nespresso machine, which is already there. Which is fine. I'm not criticizing it. It's just another way of dealing with life. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people, or most people, they have to deal with memories and documents and things like that. And it's Clara's case. The danger, of course, was making her too nostalgic, because too much nostalgia is not a good thing. Too much nostalgia takes you to the level of depression. Respect for the past is healthy. Too much nostalgia is unhealthy. But the film does have some aspects of nostalgia. First of all, I was attracted to her face, because she has this amazing, classic, very strong screen persona. That's the first thing. But then I realized also that she's so in love with the camera is so in love with her. The camera loves her very, very much. And it was my first time working with a star. Because all my other films are actors or non-professional actors. But it was the first time I worked with a star and a star who also brought a lot of herself to the film. She seems to have understood the script very well, which for me is fantastic. And she brought a lot of who she is as a woman and as a person to this character, Clara. And today I don't know where Clara ends and Sonia begins and the other way around. It's a very kind of confusing and beautiful mix of fiction, reality, of personal feelings and fictionalized feelings also. Yeah, but the political messages on the red carpet were very specific to what is happening now in Brazil. And it's something that we have to do. Because, we have a young democracy. After the military dictatorship, we got our democracy back. And unfortunately, 2 weeks ago, our new young democracy was broken through a series of manipulative actions that came from the opposition, from the conservatives, from the right wing, the right wing. And it's just a way of giving information and protesting. And as far as I know, we still live in a democracy, and I can say whatever I want. It's just another dysfunction of Brazilian society. We have a constitution, we have laws, and they're just broken, and justice is very selective. If you have selective justice, you don't have justice. Right? Justice is justice for all. Right. It's a very frightening moment right now because the values are changing very quickly. The opposition was kept away from power by the people through elections for 13 years. So they got very, very angry with their failures getting re-elected democratically. And now they found a way full of technicalities and, like I said, selective justice to get into power without elections. And ousting an honest president. And she is honest. They have been trying to uncover wrongdoings for 8 years almost on Dilma, and they have nothing. Only gossip and bad media. In fact, horribly biased media. It was always a woman. I never considered doing a man. I thought I was sure that it was going to be a woman when I was writing the scene where she's taking a nap after lunch on a hammock, and then these people knock on her door, and then I imagined the shot of this petite woman opening the door and seeing 3 men outside the door who wanted to talk to her. I think that's a good image. If it was a man inside and 3 men outside, I don't think it's as interesting. The other thing is that a woman character, she faces more challenges, especially in a chauvinistic society. And most societies are chauvinistic. Brazil is certainly very chauvinistic. For me, that's an interesting point. I'm not even sure anybody is able to change the world, but I think we have great examples from both men and women. But for my work, narratively, I thought a woman was stronger for the film because she has to face all the pre-assumptions maybe that come with the fact that she's a woman, and she denies each and every one of them. She's not weak. At the same time, she's very sensitive. She's able to hate, but at the same time, love. Yeah, I'm very happy with the fact that it's a woman. It would give emotional information about the character, Clara. And it would also expand the timeline of the film, because it's a film very much about time, and it's interesting to see a film that takes place in different times. I always like that in books or films. And lastly, because I wanted to play with toys, film toys, like old cars, costumes, all the little things that make up a period piece. I have to say that it was almost like a little sadistic of me, because after I saw these 1987, I liked it so much. Well, it's not only that I liked it so much, I got feedback from friends that it was very strong.
It is.
So I thought that it would be too easy to bring it back later on in the film. And it will have to work as a memory. When you are in the middle of the film, the 1980 segment for you is a memory. And it is a memory for Clara. And memories are memories, but you can never go back. So, because I realized it was strong and it worked, and it was emotional, I kept it as a memory throughout the whole film. But maybe 5 people, critics, expressed disappointment that we never went back to 1988, because it's almost like they missed that time. Well, the first version you write one time, and then you work on that for the next version. But I think I wrote the film for 2.5 years. Not every day, of course. I would come back to the script. And sometimes, every time I had to present it to a new script funding thing, I would go back to it and make it better. And of course, when we realized we would shoot in let's say 4 months, then I was really working on it to make it better and better and better. And even during the shooting also. And a lot of the things that the actors brought to the film, I included in the script. And I was very happy with the script when we went to shoot. Yeah, it's a good point you're making, because I believe that in families, this is a beautiful thing, because in families, and I've seen it happen many times, you have the grandfather or the grandmother, and then they have their children, who have their children. And sometimes you see that the second grandson is actually a repetition of the grandfather, or even the grandmother. Even if it's a boy, it can be the repetition of the grandmother, or the repetition of the grandfather. Or maybe the granddaughter has a strong affinity with the grandfather, and it's like a repetition of character and tastes and personality. And in my mind, yes, I agree. I think Lucia is like a blueprint for Clara. But of course, when Lucia was old, Clara was young, and then Lucia dies, of course, and then Clara becomes almost the age of Lucia, and we have a repetition. But You're the first person who mentioned it.